moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Bit earlier at about 7 a.m. A group from the
Welcome to #PH Vote 2013.
Today on Rappler, relief goods reach isolated towns hit by the earthquake. The death toll rises to 161. The Supreme Court creates a committee to investigate alleged big-time fixers in the judiciary. And an 11th hour deal averts a U.S. debt default and ends the government shutdown.
Hello, I'm Ai Makaraig, sitting in for Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Rescuers and relief workers finally reach isolated towns hardest hit by the magnitude 7.2 earthquake that shook central Visayas Tuesday. In the towns of Loon and Maribojoc in Bohol, rescue workers bring relief goods by boat. Loon's centuries-old church has been reduced to rubble by the quake. Road access to the worst-hit towns on the central island of Bohol remains cut. Rescue workers say their main problem is accessibility. The Social Welfare Department will dispatch 1,850 emergency food packs, 5,000 bottles of water, and 25 tents to Loon. For other areas like Tagbilaran City, people have to walk to bring relief goods to families and evacuation centers. As of Thursday, the death toll climbs to 161, with the number expected to rise. 375 people are injured in the quake. Bohol, where the epicenter of the earthquake was located, posts the highest number of casualties, 149 people killed. In Cebu, 11 people are killed, while 1 person died in Siquijor. 21 people are still missing. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council says 3.4 million people are affected by the earthquake. 72 evacuation centers shelter more than 65,000 people in Bohol. Other residents sleep in tents beside their homes, terrorized by aftershocks. The quake ripped apart bridges, tore down iconic churches, and triggered landslides that engulfed entire homes. Damage to roads, bridges, and flood control infrastructure is pegged at 75.15 million pesos. On Wednesday, President Benigno Aquino visits Cebu and Bohol to assess the damage and oversee relief and rescue efforts. Aquino says lessons from the quake should be used to aim for zero casualty in future disasters. Rappler is compiling a list of donation centers for victims of the Visayas quake. Tweet #ReliefPH or contact Rappler's civic engagement arm, move.ph, to provide information. The quake that shook central Visayas highlights the need to improve disaster management and risk reduction. Australia and the Philippines recently launched risk maps for Greater Metro Manila to help local governments prepare better for disasters. Geoscientist John Schneider says the damage in Bohol provides an opportunity to assess the relationship between earthquakes and the modern environment.
My understanding is that I guess some of the concern there is that there was damage not only to older buildings, which I suppose might be expected, but there was some damage to modern buildings, and that of course suggests that we need to understand better why that's the case. You know, is the issue one of an area that perhaps was not prepared to have a large earthquake because they thought the risk was low, or was it around the fact that perhaps buildings were not built completely to the standards? So an opportunity to learn something about the relationship between earthquakes and the modern environment to help make adjustments.
He also addresses fears Manila will experience the next big earthquake.
I think we can't necessarily say that because there was an earthquake in Bohol, now it's time for Manila. What we can say, though, is that we have a general understanding of the risk and the likelihood of earthquakes around the Philippines, and we know that Manila has had earthquakes similar to that magnitude. We know the fault exists in Manila, so we know it is just a matter of time before such an earthquake occurs here.
So what?
The Philippines lies in the so-called Ring of Fire, a vast Pacific Ocean region where many earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occur. Supreme Court Associate Justice Marvic Leonen heads a committee that will investigate reports of high-level corruption in the judiciary. The Leonen committee will consolidate all investigations into a supposed big-time fixer in the judiciary. On Monday, Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno asked Justice Secretary Leila de Lima to investigate a certain Ma'am Arlene, who is referred to in news reports as the Janet Lim Napoles of the judiciary. Napoles is the alleged mastermind of the multi-billion peso pork barrel scam. In his October 14 column, Philippine Star columnist Jarius Bondok says Ma'am Arlene threw birthday bashes for magistrates and gave expensive gifts in exchange for decisions favoring her litigant clients. Supreme Court Administrator Maidas Marquez is reported to have spotted 3 fixers in the judiciary operating at different levels and for different causes. De Lima earlier said these reports seem to be related to the recent elections of the officers of the Philippine Judges Association. The Supreme Court orders Sandigan Bayan Justice Gregory Ong and 4 lawyers to explain their alleged ties with so-called pork barrel queen Janet Lim Napoles. The High Tribunal gives them 10 days to comment on the sworn allegations by whistleblowers Ben Hurluy and Marina Sula. Former Napoles aide Sula says Ong visited Napoles' office in Ortigas and joined her parties. The witnesses say the lawyers notarized documents of the Napoles-owned JLN Corporation for bogus NGO projects funded by the Malampaya Fund. They reportedly left a dry seal in Napoles' office as well as specimen signatures, notary books, and stamp pads for use by Napoles' employees. In August, Rappler published a photo of Ong partying with Napoles and Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Ong was a member of the Sandigan Bayan's 4th Division that handled the Kevlar helmet case and acquitted Napoles of any involvement in that scandal. Ong denies knowing Napoles. He says she did not appear in court. I think she had a waiver of appearance in court. The Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1 or NAIA 1 is once again rated as the world's worst airport. Visitors of travel cite the guides to sleeping in airports select the congested NAIA 1 facility as the worst in the world for 2013. NAIA 1 was also number 1 on the list in 2011. It ranked 5th worst in 2010. Malacanang says the concerns are nothing new, but adds the problems are being addressed. Efforts to upgrade NAIA 1 were delayed after the Transportation Department underwent a change in leadership. There were also delays in the process of choosing the designers, engineers, and architects for the planned upgrade. President Benigno Aquino goes to South Korea for a state visit to strengthen ties with one of Asia's economic powerhouses. The trip pushes through in the middle of relief and recovery efforts in quake-hit areas in central Visayas. Aquino earlier said the trip was a prior commitment he should honor.
Tutungo ngayon sa South Korea upang asikasuhin naman ang kinabukasan habang inaasikaso natin ang kasalukuyan.
Aquino's 2-day trip includes the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the 2 countries on defense cooperation. Aquino and South Korean President Park Geun-hye also hold bilateral talks on trade and regional issues. Aquino will also meet with members of the Korean business community to discuss investment opportunities in the country. The Philippines ranks 98th in the Global Slavery Index, which lists countries based on the prevalence of modern-day slavery. The index, compiled by the Walk Free Foundation, says India has the largest number of enslaved people. The index also says an estimated 30 million people globally live in modern-day slavery. The Philippines is in the lower half of the rankings among 162 countries covered by the study. But when compared to its Asian neighbors, the Philippines ranks 12th. The report estimates there are 140,000 to 160,000 people enslaved in the Philippines. Hospitals in the Philippines are being encouraged to go green, become environment-friendly as they are people-friendly. But high costs are discouraging a lot of hospitals. Buena Bernal reports.
More and more Asian hospitals are going green. Advocate Gary Cohen says the health sector should be at the forefront of climate change mitigation.
They're large users of chemicals, large users of energy, and they also have a very large climate footprint. They're the best positioned to lead this effort around climate change.
Philippine hospitals are encouraged to adopt environment-friendly practices. But the head of the Philippine Hospital Association says going green is never easy.
The most regulated establishment in the Philippines is the hospital. Every hospital in the Philippines want to go green. Of course, there's going to be asked always, what is the cost?
Environmental Management Head Juan Miguel Cuna says the costs are small compared to the long-term gains.
Most green-minded establishments, they look at the long-term projection. It's not like we spend now, change your air conditioners, your refrigeration to more energy-efficient appliances. But then if you compute the electricity consumption that you will have, you will be saving in the end.
Advocates say the core mission of hospitals is healing, and this healing mission should extend to the environment. Buena Bernal, Rappler, Manila.
The U.S. government shutdown is finally over, averting a deadline that could have sent the U.S. into a debt default. Voting 81-18, the Senate sends the bill to the House, which approved the plan with 285 votes to 144. The deal funds the government until January 15 and raises the debt ceiling until February 7. The agreement also means thousands of federal employees will be able to return to work. U.S. President Barack Obama welcomes the deal that ends the two-week shutdown.
Begin to lift this cloud of uncertainty and unease from our businesses and from the American people.
But he takes a swipe at the political bickering that plagued the 11th hour deal.
One of the things that I said throughout this process is we've got to get out of the habit of governing by crisis.
On Wednesday, ratings firm Standards & Poor's says the U.S. shutdown took $24 billion out of the economy and will significantly cut growth in the fourth quarter. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 5, on World Food Day, the United Nations says it's possible to end hunger. Food and Agriculture Organization Director General Jose Graziano da Silva says 62 out of 128 countries they monitored reached the Millennium Development Goal of cutting by half the number of hungry people from 1990 levels. The number of the world's hungry went down in recent years, but still stands at 842 million people. At number 8, a research team from the University of Buffalo in New York tests an underwater Wi-Fi network that could create reliable disaster warning systems. The submerged network uses sound waves, while normal Wi-Fi uses radio waves. Lead researcher Tomaso Melodia says making this information available to anyone with a smartphone or computer, especially when a tsunami or other type of disaster occurs, could help save lives. And at number 10, astronomers say the biggest star in the universe, W26, is dying. A paper published in the British Astronomical Journal says the red supergiant will eventually explode as a supernova. The paper says W26 is becoming unstable and shredding its outer layers. Stars like W26 usually have lifetimes of less than a few million years before they exhaust their nuclear fuel. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. After almost a year-long break, 8th-division World Boxing Champion Manny Pacquiao is eager to get back on the ring to prove he is still the best. Natasha Gutierrez reports.
Napaka-importante itong fight na ito dahil matagal tayong hindi lumaban, almost 1 year, this coming December. So, na-miss ng mga tao yung Manny Pacquiao. Tapos second is kailangan kong i-prove na kaya ko pang lumaban.
Manny Pacquiao is a man on a mission. He has about 5 weeks left before his November 24 fight against Brandon Rios, and he isn't wasting any time. It's 5 in the morning and Pacquiao is wide awake. Running with him is his whole team, including his buddy Pac-Man. Just a few hours later, it's back in the gym. Pacquiao starts with 7 rounds of sparring, then attacks the punching bag and the speedball before some jump rope, shadow boxing, and more footwork exercise. His sparring partners, professional boxers themselves, are blown away.
He's got fast feet and fast hands, you know, and he works so hard. He runs, he's good. He's in great condition already.
This time around, the atmosphere in camp is different. It's fun but serious. There's a sense of urgency that excites those around Pacquiao. They say they haven't seen him this focused in years. And after 2 consecutive losses, it's exactly what they want him to be.
So, ngayon nakikita ko medyo nagbalik yung confidence niya. So maganda. At saka yung kilos niya, yung speed, yung power nandun. Kaya masaya.
Pacquiao needs to win, and win convincingly. Some analysts say Pacquiao has lost his spark, and he is determined to prove them wrong. Team Pacquiao wants a knockout, but Rios, who has 31 wins and 1 loss on his record, will be a challenge. Pacquiao is unfazed.
Hindi walang kaba, kundi excited ang nararamdaman. Katulad ng ginagawa ko ngayon, happy ako dahil matagal akong kumbaga uhaw ako sa training and sa fight.
For now, Pacquiao says there's only one thing on his mind: winning. Politics has taken a back seat to training, giving hope to his camp that perhaps the old Pacquiao has returned. Runs, sparring, drills. Pacquiao himself knows exactly how important the upcoming fight is and vows he's willing to put in what it takes to get back on top. Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, General Santos.
Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that got the most clicks. Today's mood navigator is still dominated by stories on the Central Visayas earthquake, which has a lot of people feeling sad. After the quake, video shows damage in Cebu City has 81% of people feeling sad, 9% afraid. Heartbreaking 10 iconic churches in Bohol, Cebu damaged, 91% sad. But the political stories got people feeling angry. Jinggoy grills COA chief, why gang up on us? 88% angry, 5% amused. Gigi Reyes' assets include 50 million peso properties, the story that got the most votes, 99% angry. All contributing to the mood of the day. Today, most people are angry. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Thursday, October 17, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch your newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Ai Makaraig, and as we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.